Hey, Agents of Chaos. When I did my interview with Callie Chase, and again in this interview today, I brought up how I used to do stand-up comedy. The reason why I keep bringing that up is because a lot of what I learned doing comedy I've been able to implement into my writing, from marketing to self-promotion to pretty much everything. And one thing that I think is funny, when I did stand up comedy, I would do these open mics where there was a ton of new comedians just like myself, and then some veteran comics who would come and try out new material. It was always interesting to me how many of the new comedians didn't take the opportunity to talk to these veterans and get their thoughts on how they got to where they are today. So that's why, as a writer, I was so excited to sit down with Audrey Carlan. This is a woman who's a New York Times best-selling author, who has a book that's about to turn into a movie, and who has sat comfortably at the top of the list on the Kindle Vella since it started. And that's the platform I'm trying to succeed at. So I knew getting to sit down and talk to her was going to be an education, and it sure was. I can even prove it. We met about a week and a half ago on Zoom, had the interview that you're about to see. In that time, my reads doubled in a week and a half. That's how much of an education she gave to me. So I hope that you get as much out of it as I do. And as always, hit like and subscribe because there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming about the Kindle Vella and how you too can succeed at the platform. All right, so I'm here with Audrey Carlan. For those of you who don't know who she is, she's the Simone Biles of the Kindle Vella. She's kind of the dominant force on there right now. Her story, The Marriage Auction, is just everybody in the world loves it.
Oh, I hope so.
True story. I have a couple friends who I sent over to the Kindle Vella to check out my story, and then a couple days later, I was like, "Hey, did you like it?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, I thought it was really good. You know what else was really good was The Marriage Auction."
Oh, that makes my heart so big.
So we're going to talk a lot about The Marriage Auction and the Kindle Vella, but before we get into all of that, what are you reading on the Kindle Vella right now? Let's get your
Well,
top three.
you'd be surprised to know that I am a woman who does my research. So, of course, I went and read your first episode on Winter Myths. And I actually was reading episode 2, and I was trying to burn through it, but my sister was like, "Can you send me this document right before your call?" And I was like, I was trying to be cool as hell by having more content under my belt, because I didn't realize that you had a story until I was talking to Callie Chase. And she's like, "Oh, yeah, if you read his story, Winter Myths, it's really good." And I was like, wait a minute. I'm talking to this dude, and he actually has a story on it? And she's like, yes. So I went and read it. I'm loving it. You know what I'm going to tell you I really like about your story, and because I'm kind of getting into dystopian because of Callie Chase. I never liked it before, but we were friends and we became more friends through the spelling process. We were like peers. And so in the writing world. And that's how I kind of heard about Bug in the beginning. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm going to do Bug." I'm like, "I'm going to do Marriage Auction." She's like, "Cool, cool, cool. We'll read each other's work." And I fell in love with hers because I've never read anything like it. And maybe that's just me being this like normal book nerd who reads a lot of romance, a lot of suspense, and I hadn't really came across that kind of genre in my world. I really haven't. It's not like I go to Barnes and Noble and go, "You know what I want to read today? Zombies." Like, I read romance, I write romance. So that wasn't the first thing that I was thinking of when I got on Kindle Vella, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is cool as hell. This is full on a more palatable version of the zombie movie, The Walking Dead, zombie show, Walking Dead." But more than that, I really loved 28 Days and 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, I think it is.
Yep.
And those were kind of cult classic in my era, like, 10 years ago, maybe? Something like that, 15?
15, yeah.
Something like that. And it stuck with me, though, that series. Like, that series stuck with me, and it kind of Bug gave me that vibe where real people are dealing with real problems. It's not like, oh, just these survivors, or oh, just these, model looking beauties, or whatever it is, it feels so genuine that I'm super into it. And honestly, that's what I really appreciate about Winter Myths, your story, is that, and I'm a spoiler, I'll spoil everybody's story all over the
That's
place.
fine, that's fine.
I can't help it. I can't help it. I want to talk about it.
If you're saying good things about it, you can talk about it any way you want.
I tell Callie all the time, Melissa needs to die. when you kill her, I'm gonna throw a party because I hate it. But I also kind of love to hate her. You have those characters, you love to hate.
Yeah.
But in Winter Miss, I really felt like, at first I was like, what the hell is going on? I'm not quite sure because I didn't know what, I just literally clicked on it and started reading it. I did not, I loved the picture because it was pretty and I love pretty pictures because I'm a girl and I'm a dork. So I like pretty stuff. And I clicked on it and I was like, oh my God, they're like talking in Morse code with their fingers, which I thought was wicked, wicked cool. Never read anything like that. That almost reminded me of like wind talkers and Native American, or they came up with like the Morse code vibe. You know what I mean? Like the wind talkers back in like the World War or whatever. And so I really appreciated that you had this like unique way of communicating. And so you're setting up this sense of fear that is almost so realistic that you're like, is something going to fall down around me? Like, I'm not so sure I'm safe. And it's cool because you twisted the narrative. Once I read the episode, I was like, okay, wait a minute. What am I reading? I go back, read the blurb. And I'm like, oh, snap. These are people who were raised under the ground. We don't know why. So that's going to be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
And they're real humans. They're real people living their lives, but yet now they're above ground and it's a whole new world. Like, how does that? Am I going to see them be contemporary? Is it going to be back in medieval times? Is it going to be dinosaur era? I don't know. I'm looking forward to finding out.
Well, you all heard that. Audrey Carlan just said to read Winter's Myth.
Winter's Myth, read it.
I'm going to be contacting
I will tell
you.
My only critique, the kids' names, I was like, come on.
It gets to why.
Okay, but I'm giving you that benefit of the doubt. But I give Callie Chase shit about it all the time because she's got characters like Brendan, Daniela, O'Neilio, Tobiah, Snow. I'm like, where are the Sarahs, Kellys, Michaels of the world? You know?
Yeah, Violin and Candlestick are definitely
Violin and Candlestick.
Names.
Violin, I was like, oh, that's cute. Then I was like, Candlestick. Come on. I can't help it. But I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by the weirdness of it. So I'm going to continue to find out why it's like that.
When I put it out in book form, I'm going to be contacting you for a blurb now.
You're going to be like, her name is Candy. We're going to call her Candy.
All right, so let's get into the marriage auction a little bit. What inspired it? What inspired that story?
Okay, it's, everybody asks me these things, and honestly, as an author, when you're about to encroach upon a very big project, you really kind of have to have the right thing. It has to be something that feels as though, for Kindle Vella specifically, I was having I should have turned off my notifications. That would have been smart. I'm going to make sure that I exit out of everything that's not you. Okay, am I in there? Am I back in?
Yeah, you're
still here. Sorry, I'm so sorry. You can edit that. Okay, so when I'm encroaching upon a new project, basically what my goal is that I want something that is going to resonate with a lot of people. And for me, that tends to be women because primarily my audience is female in the romance genre. About 92% is female for me. And the rest, honestly, are probably gay. So I'm cool with whatever I get.
I'm a straight white guy that reads romance all the time.
Well, and you know what? My dad's reading it, so I feel like I'm crossing some genres with this one. Like, I'm actually enough in the male's perspective that I'm bringing over some newbies. I was like, okay, I could go this route. But it's finding something that resonates with a lot of people, that stays true to your own self and your brand, which I'm all about sisterhood. I'm all about love and, showing that journey of the main characters and making sure that it can last long enough to span a good long while, because this is serialized fiction. You can't, in my opinion, just throw out a book and call it a day. You really, if you want to be the most successful on this platform, you have to have change. It has to be episodic. It cannot be, inner dialogue in the middle episodes and people are just going to stick with you. Sure, there's going to be some times where you need to dig deep in those character backgrounds, but you also have to make that interesting. And that's really a little bit of a difference when you're writing a novel versus serialized fiction, because in the novel you have more leeway to go long. You can really dig deep into something that maybe has, minute differences, but in serialized fiction, it has to be like this all the time. Quick, quick, quick. People don't got time to mess around. They don't got time to figure out, 5 pages back and forth of someone fighting. Like, unless they're having a knockdown, drag out, and it's awesome, it's going to bore people. Like, you need things to occur regularly. And when I say fighting, not punching fighting, because that would be interesting, but the just two characters going back and forth, like, oh yeah, okay, well, what do you want to do today? I don't know. What do you want to do today? Okay, well, maybe we'll go to the store. I don't know. Maybe we won't. Like, that's kind of boring,
Yeah.
So I feel like the marriage auction, I was like, okay, I find something that resonates with a lot of people. What have I written that really, truly resonated with the most amount of people? And that was Calendar Girl. And that saga was translated into 37 languages. So there was something about it that was special. And I tried to find in my mind what that special thing was. And for me, it was it being a journey, it being a little bit taboo, like a little, like a little questionable morally, and having good content and really entertaining scenarios. So that's kind of how I came about the marriage auction, is just that I felt like, why not? Let prearranged marriages happen all the time, but nobody really talks about them. They do a lot of fake marriage and romance, a lot of pretending. And I was like, no, let's go. Let's just put people in this, like, almost like on the reality TV shows where they have that Married Until First Sight, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Married at First Sight, or Blind at First Sight, or something like that, where they don't know the person until they're about to marry them. And that's kind of this scenario, but they get to know each other for a bit first and then marry each other, but they're all contracted. So it's different varieties and versions of age-old stories, I think, is what kind of is connecting in the marriage auction.
The blurb is fantastic for it too, where it just ends with like, you may now kiss the bride or whatever.
Yep.
And then I love how you do
those humdingers, humdingers, those one-liners, man. Like, what would you do for $3 million?
Yeah.
Now you may kiss the bride. Like, interesting things. Authors should find like little taglines that they can use. Like, one of my other taglines that my marketing person loves to use is the once you sign on the dotted line, there's no getting out, or there's no this is the end, or something like that. There's some kind of like dot, this is it. That works. And it creates a sense of urgency for the reader to, I gotta find out what's going on,
Yeah.
I like how you do
I like how you do the author's notes too, because like you end the chapter on something that makes you want to go to the next one, but then your author's notes just like show your excitement about that, and it makes the reader even more excited.
I get so giddy because you know what it is, and you probably feel this too, is that we're alone. We're in our offices, we're writing away. It's a very solo world that we work in. And so when we have that second to actually talk to the readers, talk to people, we're like, we get excited. And that's how I feel, is like, I'm just as excited about what's going to happen next as my readers are, because I don't know what's going to happen next. It's mostly just a surprise every time.
Okay, well, that was actually going to be my next question, is do you have the whole story planned out, or you have no idea where it's going to go?
No, I think that, like any good pantser, I have an idea. They're going to get married at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe. But they will, yes. I mean, one already did by, like, I don't know, 15 episodes, 10 episodes, something like that. I don't remember, like, exact numbers to when pivotal changes happened in each character's arc. It's just because it's ongoing. So I don't need to remember it per se. I will say that there's, 3 more weddings still to occur, and 3 more traumas to occur, plus the current trauma happening. So it's like each person and couple have their own arcs. And I'm trying to make sure that not only are the readers getting to know that individual person, they're getting to know the mate, whether it's guy, girl, and they're getting to know what their journey is individually, as well as how it comes together. And that keeps people rooting for their specific couple. And I think that was kind of one of the things that worked well for me, is having that team Faith, team Savannah, team, Ruby, or whatever. It's they get connected to these characters, and then they get to see them live out their dream, hopefully, or trauma. One of the two.
And that is something that I felt right away in your story is in episode 1 I connected with Faith, and I think that's something that you have a lot of a lot of reads on your story and a lot of likes, and you can't do that just on name alone. You have to write something compelling and something that people want to keep following that character. So can you explain a little bit of like, do you think about that when you're making these characters? Like, this is someone people are going to attach themselves to? Or...
Yes, 100%. When I'm fleshing out character development, the biggest thing is making them relatable. If your character is not relatable to the mass population that are reading it, it's not going to succeed. It's just not. If winter sucks in your book, like, nobody's going to read it.
Yeah.
He's got to be cool. Like, he has to be cool. And if he's not cool, then people aren't going to read him. You've got to have him be that single dad. You've got to have him be that provider, that challenger, that hero, but also be vulnerable, because that's what every human feels. All those things. They've got to be all these things to everybody. But inside, they're also very vulnerable. They're very scared. They're very excitable. We're all just human, and finding a way to connect your person to that reader individually is going to skyrocket your story.
Yeah. So, speaking of the characters, if you, well, actually, you do have a movie coming out on Passion Flicks, is it? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
It's called Resisting Roots, is that right?
Resisting Roots.
Yep.
Yeah, that was, I wrote that about 5 years ago, and it was optioned probably a year or two after it released by Passion Flicks when they first came into creating their business. And it is a yoga journey of a guy who gets hurt in a sports wound, comes to Genevieve for, recuperation. She's this young woman who's taking care of her 2 siblings because their parents died. And she's just at the grind, she's just doing the best she can in her life. And here he is, this like rich guy, and he thinks he's a player. And she's like, I don't care, like I got real world problems over here, and yeah, she's attracted to him, and yeah, she likes him, but she needs to know that his celebrity status, his fame, his ability to go off at the moment's notice isn't going to hinder a potential relationship when she has to take care of 2 people that are counting on her. And whoever she chooses in her life needs to participate in that world. They need to accept it and it be part of their lives. So it's going to be a really cool experience. I can tell you finally that we are filming in Atlanta, Georgia. We are doing it this December. Like, literally, I'm leaving the Monday after Thanksgiving, and I'll be gone all the way until Christmas. So it's going to be quite a while that we're filming, and we've already picked out all the main characters, and the Passion Flicks people are scouting locations right now. So
are you part of that
it
process?
is happening, period.
Are you part of that process? Okay.
I'm not part of the scouting. I didn't really want to be part of that, to be honest with you, because I don't have time for that. Plus, they're the experts. They know what they can do. They know their budget. They know exactly the vibe. What I participated in primarily was the script and reviewing that, editing that. We've gone through, I want to say, like 6 iterations of the script. So it's changed quite a bit. And because you have to show a character's journey in a far shorter amount of time than you do in a full-length novel. In a full-length novel, you can read it in 6 to 10 hours, depending on how fast you read. In a movie, it's got to be under 2, and ideally about an hour and a half, production-wise, cost-wise. So that's kind of hard to make it bite-sized in comparison. But we did that, and then I was able to go through all of the auditions that were submitted. So the way Passion Flicks works is, and they're an amazing company, they want the book to be, the important part, the movie to be just like the book. And so everybody should go subscribe to Passion Flicks, because you're going to get some really good products to watch, which is really nice. And it's your favorite books, like, turned into movies. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But they do this thing where they get in all the casting, because there's tons and tons and tons of actors that submit for every single script in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when they submit for a specific title, then their team goes through and weeds out like all the ones they don't think would be good out the gate. And then they present me with, oh, here's our top 5. Here's 6, here's 3. Sometimes I think there was only 2 that submitted that they thought were good, maybe for 1. And even with that, I think one of the main characters, I was like, they don't work. Like, I don't feel it at all. So one of them, the director was so adamant about, she had them re-audition on a new part of the script. And then I loved him. I was like, oh, okay, that's great. It didn't feel like it was for, I want to say it was for the, like the best friend.
Yeah.
And it was just not right. I was like, I don't get it. I don't like it. Like, it's just not feeling right. And they found someone, they re-auditioned, and then it was all of a sudden it was perfect. But it just, like, you have to be in the right headspace, the right vibe. And that's part of what the directors in their job is to look at your story, find the right people, and make it beautiful and make it work. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that come to life.
Yeah, that's amazing. Is this the first thing you've had turned into a film?
Yes, this isn't the first thing I've had optioned. Calendar Girl was optioned and had producers for like 3 years. And then like a kibosh happened in Hollywood, like it always does.
Yeah.
And those 2 producers left the company, and with all of their projects went out the door with them. So
I can imagine it's pretty incredible to like be about to watch what you wrote get turned into.
Yes, that's what I'm excited about. It's just a moment in time. I mean, I feel bad about leaving my family like right in the holidays. But like I said, I have an 11-year-old, a 14-year-old boys. They're totally cool. Their dad is 100% in like committed to their schooling, parenting. So I have like a really incredible husband, and he takes care of the kids when I'm not around too. Like, we don't have that, oh, you're watching your kid. No, that's his children.
Yeah.
So he's taking care of them while mom's, working. And that's great. And it works for us.
So now that you're going Hollywood on us, give us your give us your casting for the marriage auction.
Okay, I am like so here for this. I'm telling you, I keep saying that I want like Amazon Prime Originals to want to produce this, and I'm always saying that. So like, we're manifesting out here, Gage. Like, we are manifesting marriage auction into a serial, but I have them on my wall. I almost want to show you, but it's so messy. Okay, so the people I have chosen casting-wise, okay, I'm going to tell you one. Madame Alana, who is like, everybody loves her for some reason. They just think she's bomb. And I love her. I mean, I think she's great. She's kind of like the Jiminy Cricket of the crew. She's like the voice of wisdom. She tells people like it is, but yet it's really good advice. I really want Lindsay Price. She was in the show called Lipstick Jungle. And she's beautiful. She's got this cool voice and look about her that's just regal, but yet down to earth at the same time. So I think Lindsay Price would be amazing for Madame Alana.
Was she one of the main 3 in that show?
Okay, one of them was the chick from The Profiler.
Yeah.
The blonde chick. And then one of them was the model, the famous model.
Yeah.
Not Cindy Crawford, the other one. Brooke Shields.
Yes, yeah.
Brooke Shields was in it. So it was Brooke Shields, Lindsay Price, and then the blonde. Okay. I'm trying to remember her name. She was in Profiler, though. And then everybody else I picked was, okay, the girl, I want to say her name is, she was in Doctor Strange. She had strawberry hair in that one, and I pulled her picture. She was also in The Traveler's Wife.
Yeah.
Time Traveler's Wife.
Yeah, it's I can't think of her name right
I don't remember. I don't ever keep their names. So when I look up character inspirations, they tend to be like, I Google Kung Fu, strawberry redhead with brown eyes, tall and athletic. And then it comes up. And I'm like, that's my girl.
I had her name, and then I thought Rose McGowan came into my head and just ruined it for me.
I like her.
Yeah, it's the Mean Girls lady.
Yes, it's the Mean Girls girl.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
What is her name?
I don't know why I can't think of it.
Anyways, I have some ideas for cast, but most of them are like obscure models or obscure actors that a lot of people have probably not heard of, just because they look the way that they look in my head.
Yeah. I'm looking it
So
up
I'd be
now 'cause
open
I
to
wanna know.
interpretation, Amazon Originals. We can work on it together.
Rachel McAdams was the answer. by the
Rachel
way.
McAdams, yes. So that is Dakota. Rachel McAdams with strawberry hair. Imagine her is Dakota.
So, have you this was not one of my questions I had planned for you, but have you
That's
connected
okay.
with what's her name? Virginia?
Virginia Milner.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I talked to people from her team. So I was really super stoked when I found out that they have this like devoted channel to the marriage auction where they talk behind the scenes to each other about the stories. So now I'm like, what I think is really funny about that is when I write a sex scene, I'm like, they're reading this at work. So it's my own little like hee 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 moment where I'm just thinking about Virginia Milner being this bomb ass lady up in her office reading scripts and checking out KDP stuff and pushing product, and she's sitting there like, oh, anybody looked at her? You know, that gives me great joy, Gage, to think of that.
That's awesome. So when you're you said you're a pantser.
Yes.
Do you have your stories published ahead of time? Like, are you a week or two ahead, or are you like,
No,
I got to get this
I
out
am
tomorrow?
literally like last night at 10 o'clock at night, I clicked publish to today's episode.
Wow.
I have not written Thursday's episode yet.
Wow.
I know, and it's so bad, and it's like I'm making people think that this is normal practice, and it's not normal. You guys don't. I honestly don't recommend it. I do recommend you sticking with the flow and being excited about it and on the go as much as you can. But like Callie Chase, who we're friends with, and we talk, and she's got like 10 ahead of me, and I'm like, how do you do that? I'm so last minute. It feels like I need a month to just maybe write nothing but marriage auction, and then I'd be ahead. But I'm literally going to be writing while I'm filming a movie.
Yeah.
So I can't.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a busy
That'll be
month.
fun. I rented a house. I did rent like literally a 2-3 bedroom house for me and my assistant. And so that we have a place to like home base, because a hotel is not going to work. I want to cook. I want to be able to eat what I want to eat. It's too long to be there to stay in a hotel, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we rented a little place on an Airbnb thing, and we've got the whole house. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. It's a small house, but still kind of fun because we can set it up like workplace, and actually have my writing station. She's so used to me that I'm weird. I'll sit right at the kitchen table and I will write an episode, and everybody else has to be quiet, and it's fine as long as they're not talking to me. I don't care what they're doing. As long you don't have music on or you're talking to me, I can write anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. Kids.
So considering that you're not even sure, do you have anything that you can give readers that's like not like a spoiler-free little?
I like spoiling. I love to spoil things. I could say what for sure. Okay, so last night, Dakota has a very violent situation with her dad that occurs in the most recent episodes. And Sutton, who is her person, is the rival landowner, and he buys her in the marriage auction. So you've got a very contemptuous situation between two people that are supposed to hate each other. And she kind of still does hate him, but she also is learning more about him, learning more about what's behind the scenes of what she's been told in life. And that's going to play heavily into her journey. The fight is very Hatfields and McCoys, where, they're fighting over land, they're fighting over the fence line, that kind of thing. These two are fighting, but it's all about love, and it's not about land. So that's going to be a heavy situation. I can tell you one thing that I did tease in the beginning, that Savannah, the sister to Dakota, is also in the auction, and she gets chosen by a Norwegian individual that sells beer. He's like the biggest beer craft seller in the world. And he is very sweet. And he's had an experience we haven't saw much of in the series yet, but that it changed who he was as a person and made him become like lackluster for life. And so the marriage auction is part of him trying to find his way back into something that feels real again. And of course, he is totally taken with Savannah. But when they go home, she has that ex that she was going to marry, and we have to deal with that. So that's definitely going to be part of the trauma and the saga is, what happens to the guy left behind, and does she still love him, or did Eric win her over? What's that going to be like? And then Faith, she's got a whole host of secrets that she's keeping that are slowly coming out one at a time. And Joel is just really dealing with them well. And he's very, I see what I want. I'm going to get it. I'm going to take it. Nothing's going to stop me. And I'm going to be the person that saves you from all this. But yet, how's he going to feel when he figures out some of her lies? So, and then Ruby, she's got to pick between two twin brothers. I mean, I don't really need to say anything there.
You have,
so I think it's going to be fun, and it's going to last quite a while. I don't have any plans of tying up loose ends at this moment. It's not in the saga yet. I feel like I've maybe released one book's worth of content at this moment, because I have probably maybe 85,000 words in it at this time. So it's definitely a full-length novel. I already have a spot where I feel like I could make it a full-length novel. But what I would do, Gage, personally, because this is serialized fiction, I will go back and add more. Yeah. I will add in more of the stuff that, you, as you know, as an author, you have to add to make a novel feel fulfilling and rich, and more descriptions, more dialogue, hotter sex scenes, like more detail, things that you don't need like on the go, but that you do when you're sitting down and you're like, yeah, this is my book, and I'm going to dig into this world.
Yeah. And that's what I considered, that if I do make it into a book, I need to change like so much of it. And you're right, like beef up some of it, but also take some stuff out that like, because there's like times where I'll give another character the chapter, that maybe wouldn't work so well in the flow of a book. Right. But also I don't want readers who are like if somebody has Kindle Unlimited, I don't want them to be like, hey, wait, I just got all these chapters and I could have gotten it for free, but so it's going to be a different experience.
Well, it just depends on how you plan to release it. I do not plan to release on Kindle Unlimited. That's not something I spend a lot of time in, because I think that it's a very, very large pond.
Yeah.
And I think there are so many fish in that pond that it's oversaturated for me personally. So I have a few titles in there that I leave in there so that if people want to check me out, they have that ability to do so. But I prefer to go wide and have the use of all the platforms, iBooks, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Amazon, as well. But then you've got Books A Million. You've got, then my international market is so large that, to me, putting something in a smaller area in the U.S. limits me internationally.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
So I don't want to do that at this time, but I will probably add more content. So, and that could be something you really look at, because you got to remember, this is serialized fiction. So that means these people are going to get a saga. They're not getting one.
Right.
If they're getting one, then the book's probably already done in Vella, and they can go read it and check it out, and that's cool too. That's great. But the odds are the things that are going to continue to be successful are the things that are driven by this platform, which is serialized fiction.
Yeah.
And that's what people want. They want it fast. They want it quick. They want to read an episode in 10, 15 minutes and be able to go on with their day feeling like they read a book that day.
Yeah.
And they did. So it's cool.
So when you do feel like you get to a place where you're ready to wrap this saga up, do you think you'll write something else for the Kindle Vella? Or do you think that this was kind of like your...
I'm going to do it at the same time. I'm going to probably have double stories going soon. Like, not soon, but I have a possible paranormal I've kind of mentioned a little bit about that I might write with someone else. And just because I love this platform, and I honestly have the time now because I got ahead book-wise. So it's nice to know that I already have books coming out early in the next year for my book readers. So this Vella is something I can really dig my teeth into. We've only been in it for 3 months?
Yeah.
I mean, August, September, October, November. Okay, 4 months,
4 months
officially, like 4 full months.
Yeah.
And that's nothing in the terms of the book world. To me, I had the Wish series, the next 2 books that haven't even come out yet. And I wrote those a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
So there are things that are already on the docket. So it's kind of nice. And it gives me that little space to just have fun, with this.
Yeah, mine. I've only been on Vella since October 25th. So,
see?
Yeah.
I just saw it. And your first episode already had almost 100 likes. I was like, all right, I see you, Gage. I see you.
I'm coming for you.
Hey, bring it. I'm ready. I'm all about it. I just feel like there is so much space for authors. My feedback to Kindle Vella, one of the things that I'm going to tell them very soon is because I've told some other people that the top is lonely, and it makes people feel like, oh, I got to hate on Audrey because she's where I want to be, or whatever the case may be. But I feel like anybody could be there. It's a matter of you doing the hustle. Like I'm hustling right now. I tell my husband all the time, I'm at the grind. I am grinding. I'm getting out 2 episodes a week, which is 5,000 to 6,000 words every single week that I have edited professionally, beta read by 6 people. And then I'm marketing it as well. Yeah. So it's kind of like we're grinding here, man. We're all grinding together. And it just happens mine's working because I trained my readers how to use the platform. Yep. And if people train their readers to use it, or everybody they know, it's only going to be more successful for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard people complaining that Amazon isn't bringing in readers, and I'm like, Amazon, even on KDP, is not going to bring you readers. Right. You have to bring your own readers to you.
Yeah, and they are going to, and they have done some promotion. It's only ramping up. Every email I get from my person on Vella, because I will send, like, if I have an issue with something, or if I see something that's tawdry, that's totally wrong, I will report it. I have zero problems with, like, people who are out there going, if you fave my story, you get entered into a giveaway or something like that. Like, that's so gross and twisted. And I'm just like, that's abusing the system. Like, the whole point is to get people reading. And if they want to fave you, sure, say, hey, read my story, fave me, rockin'. But you can't be out there saying, do it and I'm going to give you something, Yeah. It doesn't really work that way. I mean, it shouldn't work that way. So I think Amazon is learning this platform. I mean, this is so new to them. They truly feel like it is scratch on what the surface of. I think this system, Gage, is going to change the way we read books.
I think so too.
Look at TikTok. Who thought 30-second, 60-second, 3-minute videos were going to run the world? Dude, it runs my world. I love TikTok. I hate recording videos because I'm old. But I love watching people do their art. I get to see people dancing, singing, creating something out of rocks or paper. I am into art in general. Like, people's art is so super cool to me. So TikTok gives these unknowns a platform to show who they are and what they are. And I think that's beautiful. This is doing that for writers. It's us showing our goods, smaller space, quicker pace. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I kind of feel like you spend less time and effort and energy learning that something's bad in this than whether it's good,
Right, yeah.
And because you can easily change it. You can totally, on the go, you can change anything. If you're posting 1 episode or 2 episodes at a time, you can keep going a different direction with the story, at any given time, which I love the power of that. I think that's really cool.
Me too. I actually, Winter's Myth is something I wrote last year as a book. Mm-hmm. And I thought, I'll just put this out chapter by chapter, but then like 5 chapters in, I was like, nope. And then now it's just its own thing that's completely separate from what I had written before.
It's just kind of the way the world works. You're feeling it out. And it's almost like, how people say, if this isn't working, you pivot. It's truly pivoting. You're constantly going, all right, this is my art, but your art has value. And in that value, how do you best display it? Mm-hmm. If you're an artist, like paint artist, you would display on the street, on murals, at home. Do you do it on social media? Do you do it on walls? Do you submit it to a gallery? Like, you've got to look at every different method to which you can express your words and your storytelling, and find out what fits you. And I feel like with the way that the world is now, there's so many options.
Yeah.
You can do it all on your own. You don't have to have a publisher. You don't have to have Kindle Vella. You could go out there and put your words out there on Wattpad if you want, but
Right.
don't expect people to pay for it if it's not going to be quality stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I like feel it too in like the author groups and stuff like that. There's like this like almost this like electricity with it where it's like this is new and this is growing and there's like everyone is really passionate about not just their own stories but everybody else's and the platform itself. And you can like you just know like in 5 years if Kindle Vella works out, which we all believe it will, like this group that's in there right now is still going to be
the grandfathers.
Yeah.
Well, think about Kindle Unlimited. If you go back in time and put your business hat on, when I was writing novels and Kindle Unlimited came about, I think I'd hit with Calendar Girl. And it's a totally different world than what the Kindle Unlimited world is. And I never released in Kindle Unlimited at the time. But then authors were posting on Kindle Unlimited with really great content and hitting, skyrocketing, and getting, portion of this big bucket of money. And it was great until they stopped having authors that were editing their work and actually putting quality product out. So it's kind of like, for me, I'm not going to crap on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm going to say I have a harder time finding a good story on there than I do if I purchase it direct from Amazon Kindle.
So you were saying that you have to like train your reader to what the
to use the platform. And I think that honestly was like my chef's kiss moment when I was able to get people who were definitely committed to reading my words, giving something new a shot because they liked me, they liked my books, they were part of my reader group or whatever, and just saying, hey guys, I need you to give this a shot. I need you to give this a try. It's free. They're giving you 200 free tokens. You can read the first episodes. 3 of them are free. If you used them all on mine alone, you get 13 episodes for free. So that's quite a lot of content. Yeah. And for them to try something new. You know what I mean? And it's cool because then they're supporting their favorite author. They're supporting, we're small businesses. We're all doing the grind for ourselves and for this industry. So it's kind of like a way for them to help be a part of it. And I trained them, and my assistant, I can't tell you how many times my assistant was like, I just spent half an hour teaching someone how to download tokens and, actually go read a story. And I'm like, awesome, you got one more reader. Like, that's so cool, Yep. That person's going to read for sure because she was just taught. And I know it sounds like a lot, and it is, but then they don't need that help again. Then they tell a friend, then they show a friend how to use it. And now you've got 2. My dad went on there and learned it, and he's already up to date on all episodes. He's read them all, and he's like so impressed with this because he can read it while he's in his work truck on his break, having a little snack. Yep. He's like, oh, I read 2 episodes while I was on my lunch. It was great. I loved it. Dakota's my favorite, all this. And I'm just like, cool. My husband, when I was traveling last week, he started reading The Marriage Auction. He was like, all right, I want to see what this is all about. And so he starts reading it, and he's like, babe, I read like 10 episodes just picking up the kids from school. So I think it's a lot faster and easier than people think it is. Yeah. We just need to teach them. We need to train them.
I think how you were just saying it too with I think the word episode itself is so important because when you say, like, if you had said to your reader, you'll be able to get 13 chapters, they'll be like, I get a part of a book, but in episodes, that's what it is. It's like its own.
It is.
TV
it's an opera.
Show,
It's a soap opera.
Yeah,
I had told my agent early on, I was like, man, why can't I just write a soap opera? Something that I can just live in and play in anytime I want, like my big sandbox. And she's like, because that's just not what's out there. And then all of a sudden, Bella comes along. She's like, hey, guess what? Yeah. You want to write that soap opera? I'm like, yes, I do. And that's kind of how that worked.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think it is just like a soap opera.
It is. It's just ongoing couples, changing scenarios, but they're all interconnected in the same world. Yeah. And that's a series, but smushed together into a saga. Yeah.
So what would be some tips that you would give to writers that have been on the platform and aren't getting the success that they thought they were going to get or hoping to get? What do you think that they could look at to change to get better results?
You definitely have to look at your graphics because that's a big deal. If your graphic is off-putting, you're going to lose readers. If it doesn't resonate with people, like my story is 4 rings because it's called the marriage auction. You see 4 rings, oh, 4 people are going to get married. Like, okay, if I want a story about romance and marriage and it being sold at an auction, this is what I want to read. Winter's Myths, I would have to look at the picture again. I know it's pretty. I remember it being like orange and yellowy and bright and colorful. Those are really good images. Bugs imagery is really cool because it has that dark edge to it, but yet you see like a girl with a dog, and you can resonate with that. You're like, oh, that's like a girl with a dog. I want to know more. Does she make it? So that's kind of really cool. And if you look at some of the other ones, I think Pepper Pace has a bomb cover image, like the outline with the person inside the image. So cool. So cool. I'm trying to think of the other ones that I like. I love Sophie Davis's Wolf Rising imagery. I like that bright, colorful girl with the wolf face, with the colors that are popping out. I think that's really cool. And if okay, it's a girl who falls in love with a shifter. Like, you totally know that's what that series is. Yeah. And you don't even have to read the blurb. So the imagery is really important. I would say create branded imagery for your story. So if you'll notice, if you see any of my posts, I don't know if you do, but if you do, you're going to see a lot of teal. You're going to see bows, kind of like Tiffany's, because that kind of feels like marriage, the coloring. You're going to see, bridal stuff. You're going to see men in tuxes. You're going to see the exact same fonts every single time, because I'm branding that series in your mind as something, what that is every time you see that fly through your feed. You're like, oh, is there a new episode? Cool, Or you're like, I'll get to it later. Or maybe they've seen it 20 times and they're finally like, all right, what is this about? Yeah. I gotta check this out. Yeah. So definitely get some imagery, brand it, use it all the time, constantly. Every single week when you release an episode, post that you released an episode. Don't just write a little comment in your feeds. Post an image with your commentary. That's going to get more traction, more attention from any possible readers, as well as if you have some really good readers and fans, ask them to share your imagery. Just be like, hey, hook a sister up, hook a bro up. Like, just give me a little share once in a while, please, because I need more people to see my story. Be honest with your readers. I'm honest with you, Gage, just like I'm honest with the readers, with all the other authors. There's no magic sauce. It's straight up grinding all the time. Yep. It's making sure you're putting your story out there. Yeah. You can't expect people to find it magically without talking about it.
Yep. Yes, I annoy everybody with my story.
Well, and you got to do social media too. Like, you're doing these videos. These are awesome, these interviews. You can interview tons of people. That gives others a chance. It gives you a chance to promote your story. Every time you end these episodes, you should be like, go check out Winter's Myths. This is my story. If you like me, you might like my work, Yeah. So it's kind of just like that. And people should be on their Facebook, their Twitter, their Pinterest, their Instagram, their TikTok. Every single platform should have an enormous amount of your Vella stuff in order for people to see it.
Yeah. So you said earlier about people doing some shady things with the thumb.
I have seen some shady things. You can do like, go give me a review and, I'll pick some winners for gift cards. Yeah. Like, that's normal stuff because they had to read it and pay for it themselves to even get entered. So I don't think that that's shady. And I don't think it's shady to ask for like your people, go fave me. If you like my story, please remember to fave me this week. Yeah. But making it where you're like, I'm going to die if I don't stay on top. My family's not going to eat next week. Like, that stuff's gross. I don't like it. And I've seen it and I'm like, can't deal.
I do try and push the likes and the crown. Like, but I don't really push the crowns so much. Or I'll say like, hey, did Winter deserve a crown this week or something like that?
Yeah, that's fine in your notes. I think everybody should put that in their notes. I'll put, like this last one I was cracking myself up because it was 10 o'clock at night. I'd been drinking wine. I was posting my episode and I was like, don't forget to fave your fave this week. Oh, kind of like Flavor Flav. Yeah. It's silly. It's funny. It's, reminding that Monday is their faves, or Sunday, whatever day it is.
Yeah.
I think I'm always a day or two late for faves. I don't know, but I do things when they happen.
Yeah.
So they're lucky they got a story that week.
Yeah. Or I'll just be more vague and I'll say like, let's get to the top 100 this week. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. No, absolutely. Tell your readers, let's hit top 100. Go like my story. Go fave my story this week. Help me out. Help me grow my business. Help me grow my readership. Give me a review. Those are all fine. Being honest about it, but like begging, pleading, trying to buy reviews, trying to buy likes. I don't feel that that's going to go well for very long. Like Amazon's going to put a kibosh on those things very quickly.
Yeah.
When people start being backhanded about it,
Mm-hmm.
or putting others down because they're not higher up, I can't handle that behavior.
Yeah.
And I won't participate in it. So when I see people really negative, like, oh, only bestsellers will do well. And it's like, you know what? The reason why I'm a bestseller is because I worked my butt off to be a bestseller in this industry. And I gave up a lot of years of my time, energy, and life devoting to working at night, writing at night while my kids were sleeping, working an 8 to 5, but doing all these things, not going to parties because I was writing books. So spending my own money because I believed in myself. And you don't never know anybody else's story,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, we just need to assume everybody's being awesome and support each other until they prove that they're not worthy of that support.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way I see it.
Well, the thing about that too is, I think, did you see the interview I did with Callie? I mentioned in there that
I read it. Yeah, I watched it.
When I was a stand-up comedian, there was a bigger name comedian who said to me, "Yeah, new guys get like 5 seconds on stage to make somebody laugh, but we only get
the
a
guy
minute."
gets 5 minutes or a minute or something. Yeah.
And I mean, you don't get, how many, what do you have, like 17,000 thumbs up on your story? You don't get that just because you're a bestseller. Like, you have to compel people to read that many
they
episodes.
have to keep reading.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to, is you can see with any person, like, all of us are going to have a ton of reads and then no thumbs. You know what I mean? I think the first episode is close to 1,000 likes. And it's like, but yet I have 17,000 total. So it's all relative. I could release a new book and get way more than 1,000 people to buy it in the first week. So you got to look at it that way. It's not, this is all new for every single person. I just happen to be doing well right now. Doesn't mean I'm going to be doing that forever. I'm going to try. Hell yeah. I'm going to keep working hard.
Right.
Just like you are going to keep working hard. But I think what would be really cool, Gage, is that if instead of the leaderboard being like 1 through 250 or whatever it is, what I would love to see more is category tops. And I would love to see stories like, this one's number 1 in romance, this is number 2 in romance, this is number 3. This is number 1 in dystopian, this is number 2 in dystopian. So then people looking for that specific type of genre will know who's kind of leading the charts in their regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would give more ability for others to feel the same success.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah. But
the lonely's tiring. It's boring. I want friends. I want my friends.
But I don't feel like your success is a hindrance to me anyway. Like, that's just a crazy way to think. Like, you're bringing credibility to the platform that I'm trying to succeed on. So why would that be? That's a good thing.
Right.
So I think that's all the questions I have for today. Do you want to tell people where they can follow you, where they can find you, and of course where they can check out
the marriage auction? Kindle Vella, of course. That's where the marriage auction is. I am releasing a new title in my Wish series January 4th. So by the time this comes out, that pre-order is still up. And that's a 3rd book in a series, but all mine are standalone. So if people want to check out Isabeau's story, great. If not, that's okay too. Hopefully they'll check out Bella and give everybody a chance. Like, pick your genre, guys. Read the top 10 in them, at least one episode. Try it out. That's the beauty of it. If the first episode catches you, great. If it doesn't, you can move on. No harm, no foul. That's okay. And that's what's cool, is you're going to find the vibe and connect with the author right away, or you're not in Vella. So it's pretty cool. Try it out. Experience it. Tell us what you think in the comments. follow, hit the likes and thumbs up.
Thank you.
Gage needs all of us to be supporting him right now. Read Winter Myths, like I am. I'm on episode 2. They're walking the desert right now, or the plains, and they're like tired of walking because they're like, wow, we've never walked this far before. They've been underground. So, check it out. Check out Bug by Callie Chase. She's my girl. I love her. And just have fun reading, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. I said
You're
welcome. 3 weeks ago I was talking about how supportive the community is, and I mentioned your name, and I said how, you're constantly like answering people's questions and helping people out. And then, here you are on a small YouTube channel, spending your time.
Hey, I'm glad to help. I know what it's like to be at the start. I know what it's like to be at the start and to take your career in new paths and try new things. And you got to have people there to help you along. And I'm happy to help.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a good one, Gage. And let me know when it's live, and I will share it all over.
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye.